Hey, hi all, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we'll talk about structure query language, that is SQL. So in this video, first we'll discuss what exactly is SQL, then the brief history of SQL, why to use SQL, and at the end we'll talk about different command and components for SQL. Okay, so let's start the session. But before that, if you have not yet subscribed my channel, I would request that please go ahead and subscribe it and hit the bell icon. And if you found it relevant, please like the video. That will motivate me in order to create more such videos. Okay, so let's jump into the session. Okay, so what is SQL? Okay, so SQL stands for Structure Query Language. Okay, so it's a language used for managing and manipulating data. So it's a language of databases. Okay, so when I am saying it's a language of databases, it means the way we human can interact and communicate with different people using languages like English, Hindi, German. In the similar way, computer can interact with the database using SQL. So we can say that it's a language of databases. Okay, so it was invented in the year 1970 based on the relational data model. At that time, it was known as structured English query language. Later on, the word English was removed from this particular terminology, okay, and it renamed as structured query language. So SQL is basically product of IBM Corporation, and it's a common language for all the RDBMS. Oracle is the first vendor which basically commercially implemented SQL in the year 1979. Okay, so using SQL, one can create and maintain data in a better way. Okay, any sort of data manipulation operations can be performed using SQL. Different sort of database objects can be created. Okay, so in that way, it's a quite powerful language. So that's a brief of SQL. Now we'll talk about history of SQL. Okay, so in 1970, Edgar F. Code, who also gave 12 rules of RDBMS called Code's Rule, he published one paper titled A Relational Model of Data for Large Shared Data Banks, which basically became the base of relational database management system and SQL. Then in 1974, IBM started developing relational database management system considering Code's relational model. So SQL was developed as a part of that particular project. In 1979, IBM released the first commercial version of SQL. Then in 1981, relational software at that time, now Oracle Corporation, they basically did first commercial implementation of SQL. In 1986, the American National Standard Institute (NC) they also adopted SQL as a standard language for RDBMS. Then in 1987, the International Organization for Standardization (ISO) they also accepted SQL as a standard language. So that's about history of SQL. Over the period of time, SQL is SQL has become quite powerful tool in terms of any sort of data analysis, data transformation. Okay, it's quite useful language in terms of data science. Okay, so over the period of time, different flavors of SQLs are available in the market. So in that way, it's a quite powerful language. Now there are some pointers which suggest that why SQL or why we should use SQL. Okay, so the primary reason of SQL using SQL is basically it is it is able to interact with databases. Okay, different sort of different sort of database related activities, whether it's a data manipulation, data retrieval, that is quite possible in SQL. Okay, secondly, it offers scalability and greater performance. Okay, so what do you mean by scalability? It means that whether you are having a small data set or larger data set, SQL work very efficiently. Okay, it provides a result of all those complex queries in a very quick manner. Okay, then third one is SQL provides powerful data retrieval and data aggregation. Okay, different sort of complex query can be write in order to retrieve data as per the business requirement, different sort of aggregation function, whether it's a min, max, sum, average, all those are available in SQL, and as per the business needs they can be like executed, or they can provide the accurate data what exactly business is looking for. Fourth, SQL provides data security and data integrity. Okay, so different sort of like integration constants can be enforced using SQL. At the same time, it provides greater security, views, different sort of like objects can be created, and we can provide restricted access to particular users. Okay, and the last is basically SQL is widely accepted language. Okay, as I said, it's a common language for all the RDBMS. Okay, so these are some pointers which basically suggest us to use SQL. Now, SQL components can be divided into 5 parts: DDL, DML, DCL, TQL, TCL. Now let's try to understand what exactly these means. Okay, so DDL, data definition language. So these are the commands used to define the database objects. Okay, like table, view, sequences. So wherever like you're going to create any sort of, or you're going to define any sort of database objects, okay, DDL will come into picture. Okay, so your create statement, rename statement, drop, alter, all these falls under the category of data definition language. Then we have DML, data manipulation language. Okay, these commands are used to manipulate the database objects. So any sort of data manipulation, whether it's insertion, updation, deletion, all these falls under the category of DML. So your insert, update, delete statement comes under the category of DML. Then we have DCL, data control language. Okay, using these commands we can control the database objects. Okay, you can provide restricted access to one particular objects to one particular user. At the same time, if you want, you can revoke certain access from one particular user. So grant, revoke, these statement falls under the category of DCL. Then we have DQL, data query language. As the name suggests, using this one we can fetch data from the database. So there is only one statement, select, which falls under the category of DQL. Then we have TCL, transaction control language. Okay, this is basically used to manage changes made by DML. Okay, so whatever changes you are making using your DML statement, whether it's a insertion, updation, deletion, those transactions can be controlled using TCL. Okay, so examples are basically commit, rollback, and save point. These statements falls under the category of TCL. So that's about brief of SQL commands and components. Okay, so let's summarize this. Okay, so we have covered very basic introduction of SQL. Okay, I hope it would have given you some understanding about SQL. In a later section or in a later chapter, we'll cover more detailed information about all these components. Okay, so keep watching, and if you found this video relevant, please hit the like button. Okay, so we'll come back to you with another chapter. Thank you. Bye.